great pleasure I can come here after the pandemic for 3 years. So I'd like to share some opinions with you. And today's share, I mainly divided into 4 parts. So you can see the first, I'd like to introduce briefly the history of film in China in the past 40 years. And then the second is factors of Chinese film industry. And the third is Chinese film market achievements and challenges. And the fourth is a perspective of Chinese cinemas. Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to briefly introduce the history of film in China in the past 40 years. We can see that in the 1980s, when the liberation of mind was the main theme of the times, in terms of the mechanism of production, the film in China was still characterized by a planned system owned and operated by the states. So, you know, there are several very famous studios. For example, Beijing Film Studios, Changchun Film Studios, and they are all owned by the states. And there is no producer. There was no producer at that time. And the director, what the director to do is just to shoot films. There is no need for them to care about the market. But at that time, we also have some very good films. And then in the, so we can see from the picture that there are several very good films at that time. And in the 1990s, the transformation of economy and society profoundly influenced Chinese films. In the process of transitioning to a marketing economy, Chinese cinema experienced some maladjustments. In the overall trend of Chinese cinema going abroad, some independent films such as Farewell, My Concubine, and the story of Qiuju. We can see, maybe you don't know the name I just said, but from the poster we can see. The first is Farewell to My Concubine, and directed by Chen Kaige. And the middle one is the story of Judo, directed by Qiuju. The story of Qiuju, directed by Zhang Yimou. And the third one is, the name is Woman Sesame Oil Maker. This one is directed by Xie Fei. And I'm so proud. Director Xie Fei is a professor of our academy. And the 2 directors, Zhang Yimou and Chen Kaige, both graduated from our academy. And so they are also visiting professors of our academy nowadays. So at that time, some films and directors went to the international film festivals and gained international influence. And the 3 one, they get awarded the Golden Palm, the Golden Lion, and Golden Bear Awards. So it was the first time for Chinese film won the highest awards overseas. So during this period, Chinese cinema witnessed the emergence of a situation in which main melody films, artistic films, and commercial films coexisted. And then we came to the 21st century. In the beginning of the 21st century, since Chinese cinema has encountered a comprehensive crisis, while at the same time ushering in new opportunities for development. So just as maybe Director Xiao remember, at the first years of 21st centuries, some cinemas closed, and they began to do some other businesses. But after a very short time, the film industry have their new opportunities. And after China's accession to the WTO, the film industry has experienced ups and downs. Chinese cinema in the first decade of the 21st century, we all remember that some people are very worried at that time, but it lasted not so long. And Chinese cinema, later on, the Chinese cinema realized the harmonious interplay of ideology, social, artistic, and commercial values, and led to the coexistence and interactions of main melody films, artistic films, and commercial films. So we can see some famous films at that time. And Hero, directed by Zhang Yimou, and Let the Bullet Fly, directed by Jiang Wen. And the next one, Tuya's story, directed by Zhang Quan'an. Maybe not very familiar with you, huh? Wang Quan'an, yes. And these three films also gained some awards. And this one, the third one, gained the Golden Bear Awards. And The Hero made a very good box office overseas. And nowadays, Chinese film in the new era, the film industry with Chinese characteristics was firmly established, and the market-oriented, artistic, and technical innovated Chinese film market are gradually entering a better state. Box office revenues and cinema audiences continue to break record highs, and the construction of movie infrastructure continues to improve. New mainstream films, comedies, action film, youth film, romance films, and also science fiction films, animations, and other genres have made new breakouts. So I have some posters. People maybe knew the first one. 什么? Me and my country, and there are some other similar ones, just as 还有什么我和我的 me and my hometown, and so on. And the middle one is a very good documentary. And the third one is very popular animation and very good production. Okay, I'd like to come to the second part, that is factors of Chinese film industry. First, I'd like to show some quotes of the Chinese film industry. First, the trend of film production. Nowadays, there is, in recent years, the administration had some thoughts that is reduction in quantity and improvement in quality. That is, there is no need to produce so many films, but we need to improve the quality of them. So we can see in the past 6 years, the number of the amount just reduced. It was more than 3,000 in 2017, and only no more than 2,000 in 2022. So the quantity of the Chinese film reduced a lot. And due to the overall market environment caused by pandemic, the amount of film project achieved registration decreased significantly. This is pandemic is one of the main reason of the reduction. And yes, we can see this one. This is the amount of various categories of film script registered in China in 2022. So we can see the feature film, of course, is the biggest part. It's 1,700. And the last one, co-produced film amount, is only 6. So we believe that since the pandemic is over, and I'm here after 3 years of just lockdown in China, so we can carry out more co-production in the future. Although the quantity of the production reduced a lot, but we can see in 2022, movies distributed online made significant progress in coordinates to the guidance of reduction in quantity and improvement in quality. A total of 394 online movies were launched on major video platforms throughout the year, compared to 551 in 2021. Despite the decline in quantity, the released box office of online movies distributed in 2022 on the three major platforms of iQIYI, Youku, and Tengxun reached 1.98 billion yuan, slightly higher than the 1.96 billion yuan in 2021. So we can see that the online release is very important and become more and more important nowadays. And pattern adjustments and pace changes in film distribution and market. We all know that China Film Group Corporation is the biggest one in China, contributed to maintain its leading position in the industry as a state-owned enterprises and its advantages in the whole industry chain. In 2022, China Film Group Corporation distributed 56 films and grossed 9.43 billion in box office revenue, both of which were the first in the film industry of China. And the second one is China's film industry. In China's film industry had been Huaxia Film Distribution Corporation. And in 2021, it was replaced by Tianjin Maoyan Entertainment. In 2022. And you know, Maoyan used to be an online ticket platform, but nowadays it also invests in some film productions. Maoyan continued to make efforts in recent years and was among the top 5 for the first time in 2022. And in 2022, affected by the pandemic and other factors, temporary withdrawal and slotting in the last minute became the 2 keywords throughout the year. So it was, all the time we can see some bad news from the friends in this area. For example, some films will be released at some time, but just before, just 1 day before, they get some notice, they post some notice that the film will be postponed. And they will give some new notice before they get the new information. So I think it was a hard time for the filmmakers also in China in the last 3 years and mainly last year, but it's getting better and better. So in last year, more than 40 films were withdrawn and rescheduled by theaters. And because you also know that some theaters also closed. On the other hand, short-form videos platform have become an approach for movie marketing, which promote the growth of movie offline box office. The deep integration of film distribution, marketing, and the internet expanded the boundaries of filmmaking, marketing, as well as development of consumption of the film. So next, I'd like to share something of their new platform in the multi-screen era of China. As informational and digital technologies continue to advance, we are moving into an era of multi-screenings. The film industry in China is changing drastically from the emergency of screens on computers, mobile phones, tablets, etc. These changes in consumer behavior open up new possibilities for the growth of the film industry. In China, there are several very good genres released on the platform. And at the first period of these platforms, they just screen these genres, but later on they also invest the production of them. And meanwhile, short video platforms like TikTok are also utilizing their own strengths to collaborate with other companies to move up the value chain. From here, we can see some genres released from the platforms. They all get very high revenues. Okay, next part, I'd like to see something of International Film Festival with innovation and youth talent programs. Since this time I came here for the Nepal International Film Festival, I'd like to see to share something of Chinese film festivals here. We all know that in 2022, all the major film festivals in China made a very every effort in overcoming the difficulties resulted from the pandemic to organize events. The 12th Beijing International Film Festival received 1,450 films from the main competition, Tiantang Award, with an increase of 63% over the previous years. Among them, there are 1,193 films from 88 countries and regions abroad. Meanwhile, 401 films from more than 40 countries and regions were submitted to the Golden Roaster International Film section of the 2022 China Golden Roaster and 100 Flowers Film Festival, bringing the best films from all over the world. And friends from China knows that the Golden Rooster Film Festival is one of the most important one in China. And just, I think, 2 or 4 years ago, they had a new award that is Golden Rooster International Film Section. And they also have some films submitted from the foreign countries. And we can see that in China, the film festival pay much attention to the international communications. And Hainan Island International Film Festival is a relatively new international film festival. It just began 4 years before. And just now I said that Changchun Studio is a very famous studio in 1980s and produced many good films at that time. And so Changchun Film Festival also has a very long history compared to other film festivals. It has, so last year they held the 17th Changchun Film Festival. And another new film festival called Silk Road International Film Festival also was successfully held in Xi'an. And online screenings, live film streaming, and virtual reality were integrated into some film festivals and became highlights. The film festivals in China also placed more emphasis on supporting young filmmakers and providing more comprehensive services to select projects through the film project pinching program. For example, the 12th Beijing International Film Festival provided intense training and roadshow opportunities for the 19 film projects selected as finalists. The 2022 Golden Rooster Film Pitching Conference created the first producer jury and professional selection system, and joined hands with the milling level landing and support program to provide young film talents a broader stage. The 9th Silk Road Film Festival launched the Young Film Directors Support Program in the western region of China. Because just as I said, Silk Road Film Festival was held in Xi'an, in the Shanxi province. They pay much attention to the filmmakers in western region of China. And next, I'd like to say something of formalization and the development of film studio business. Friends know something about Chinese film production. I think you all heard about a place called Hengdian. Because most of many films and TV dramas were produced there. So nowadays, Hengdian World Studios keeps to be the biggest and most important one in China. From January to December, Hengdian film and television cultural industry cluster in Zhejiang province operates the whole year and keeps to be the biggest one. And there is another one in eastern region of China called Qingdao. And Qingdao nowadays attaches greater importance to the construction of Oriental film metropolis. In order to accelerate the constructions of digital film metropolis, they proposed to implement the strategy of high quality products, promote the integrations of film and television culture and tourism development, as well as other important actions. So maybe this can give some maybe the experience of Qingdao can give some inspiration for our friends here, because as I learned that Nepal is a very good place for tourism, and also want to do something to combine the film and tourism together. And Qingdao is, I think they did a lot in recent years. And the Oriental movie metropolis also produced some big films in recent years. For example, I don't know the English name of that. I don't know how to explain it in English. Yeah, 他的那个封神三 a very good director called Wu Shan. He made his films many years, at least I think 5 years in Qingdao. And we hope that we can see the film very soon. And okay, next I'd like to say something about the Chinese film market achievements and challenges. First, we know that China is the second largest movie box office in the world. From this tablet, we can see that. Yes, from this tablet, we can see the biggest one is North America, and the second largest one is China. So since we have such a big population, and from next tablet, we can see the global box office in 2022 was approximately 25.9 billion US dollars. And as shown in the figures, North America, including US and Canada, ranks first in the world with 7.191 billion, increasing more more than 60% from 4.484 billion US dollar in 2021, while Chinese mainland ranks the second with over 4 billion US dollars. And from this tablet, we can see that according to the National Film Bureau of China, and as shown in the figure 2, the total box office of the country's film in 2022 was 30.67 billion yuan, with a decline of more than 1/3 compared to 2021, and less than 50% of 2019 before the outbreak of the pandemic. So we can see the pandemic, the influence of the pandemic is very big to the Chinese film industry. In 2019, it was 642 billion, but in 2020, we can see the breakdown. Okay. The box office and the market share of China's domestic film from 2017 to 2022. We can see 这个往下是不是？这个。都乱，它不是有一个对往下走，就往下走是一样的。这个还有什么东西啊？
Meanwhile, I'd like to request all the guests, if you have any question, please note it down. I might like to collect it after a while. के questions हो भने यहाँले लेखेर राखिदिनु होला म अहिले वहाँ समक्ष राखिदिनेछु.
Yeah. Okay. Next, I would like to share that China has the world's largest number of screens and increasing numbers of cinemas. So, from this figure, we can see before the pandemic, in 2017, 18, and also 19, some new cinemas and screenings increased. So nowadays, China has the world's largest number of screens. And some cinemas closed during the pandemic, but after that, we hope that they can open again. We see that the number of screenings in China steadily ranks first in the world, significantly contributing to the growth of the global film market. Among the screens in cinema nationwide, IMAX occupies a large proportions, and screens located in towns and villages are increasing rapidly. From a national level perspective, suburbs of big cities and third and fourth tier cities enjoy more share of the new screens, with a more optimized and balanced structural layout of cinemas in China. This provides basic conditions for building a different film market system. In the past 3 years, cinemas were greatly affected by the pandemic in China, with a large number of theaters going out of business and an overall slowdown in new cinema construction. Compared with 2021, in 2022, the figures of the top 10 cinemas in terms of box office revenues, audiences, and average attendances decreased slightly, but improved compared with 2020. So we can see 2020 maybe is the worst year for Chinese film market. And the next, the challenges of other audio-visual contents to film. Just now, I also said something that the platform of Tencent, iQIYI, and Youku, they shared a very large part of the film market. Short form video is also growing rapidly, with the user scale reaching 888 million, account for 87.8% of the overall internet users, and has become the number one application in the field of online video in China. Short-form video is known as an important way for users to kill time, which squeezes the space for cinema viewing and also restricts the time for network broadcasting of films distributed online. So nowadays, we can see the people with a cell phone in hand, all the places. So maybe after work, you want to get some relaxed, and with the cell phone in hand, you can kill you just maybe 2 or 3 hours very easily. So maybe this, I don't think it's very good thing, but also maybe it applies some chances for video makers. Next one, the prospect of Chinese cinema. With the improving conditions, this year's Spring Festival movie box office which reached the 6.76 billion yuan, achieving second place in the Spring Festival box office in the film history. So we can see the 就是我看不太清，这个太小了。可以了。The most important ones we can see. 这个。 covering diverse genres. This year's film festival films are professionally made and fully met the particular demands of the audience. The top earnings increased the twist-filled hit Full River Red. This one also directed by Zhang Yimou, and it got the biggest box office, ranks first. And the second is science fiction blockbuster, The Wandering Earth, second, which ranked in about 2.61 billion yuan. The Wandering Earth, second, is a phenomenon and empowered by stunning special effects and wild imagination. The film offers a breathtaking cinematic spectacles full of gigantic spaceships and throwing swarm battles, and visualizes some of their technological wonders that in the past only appeared in science fiction books such as The Space Elevator. We can see there are some successful ones, but there are also some not so lucky ones. For example, among the Spring Festival films, there is one called Ping Pong, the Champ, Ping Pong the Champ. The film was withdrawn soon after released on the third day of their Chinese New Year, and then returned to screen on February 17th. Due to the mistakes in promoting and distribution, the box office of this film is unsatisfactory, despite its good reputation among the audience. This one, in fact, is a very good one, but as I said, they made some mistake in promotion, and they chose the wrong time to release, so the box office is very low. Hopefully, the massive box office success will bolster the confidence of Chinese filmmakers and promote them to make quality films, and also draw more investors to drive the industry's long-term development. With 2023 Spring Festival as a new starting point, Chinese cinema will continue to tell an exciting story. Okay, that's all for my share for today. If you have some questions and you want to know something or to communicate with me, please. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much for your session. Okay, there is a question. What's your name? Okay, we have got the question from Agent Shahi, and he wants to ask you this question. Nepalese love Chinese movies, but never got chance to watch any Chinese movies in Nepalese cinema theater. Why? why we cannot see any promotion posters in our country? This is the first question. Is okay? So first answer that question, or I should read another question as well. So there's another question. Can a foreigner make a Chinese movie and release if in China? Okay.
Okay, I'd like to answer the first question. Today I came here to share with you as the Dean of International School of Beijing Film Academy, but also I'm also a professor of management school in Beijing Film Academy. We have two majors. One is production management, and the other one is marketing and distribution. So to the first question, I think that there is still a very long way for the Chinese distributors to do in Nepal. We hope that more Chinese films can come to Nepal, because maybe there is some need for us to build up some channels. Some films are very good, but they cannot find a partner or a distributor to help them to release all over the world. So sometimes they just choose some special countries or regions that they have some partners can do that for you. So I also would like to do it, that if in the future you want to import some Chinese films, I also want to be the bridge. Okay. Yes, just as I shared, we have a department in China Film Corporation that is called Department of Co-Production. They just this department is in charge of the co-production for all the films. Yes, I think Nepali filmmakers has a lot of chance to cooperate with Chinese filmmakers, and I think the most important thing is that just the first step to find a good idea, how to start it, from which kind of stories that Chinese audience will be interested, and also Nepali audience want to see it. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Li Ran,
thank you.
for enlightening us with the Chinese film narratives. So we got to know the Chinese film market, also the Chinese film industry in itself. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I was also very happy to know how much in last 40 years Chinese film industry has progressed.
Thank you.
Become the largest cinema market in the world. I'm very happy to do that. My name is Sunil Pant. I'm new into the filmmaking, so I just made a short film, first film, which will be shown tomorrow. Otherwise, I was a social activist and also politician before. I was member of parliament from 2008 to 2012 in Nepalese parliament. I made this film picking up a rural man who is a homosexual and forced to marry a woman without his interest or will. So, which is common in Nepal. I believe that story is also common in China. I wanted to apply for a film festival in China. I was worried whether this kind of type of story will be accepted or not. So that's my first question. And also how much Chinese film industry are open or the stories from depicting characters from homosexual, transgender communities are in the film, in Chinese film industry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for your question, and I also cherish the chance to communicate with Nepali filmmakers together. But you know, I'm just a professor. I'm not an officer, so I don't know when it will be accepted in China for the homosexual subjects. Yeah. Okay. Keep our communication in the future. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to take another question. It's from Mr. Daniel Heber from USA, and he wants to ask you this question. What proportion of films are made in regional languages such as Tibetan in China? What is the proportion of movies made in Tibetan language, regional language?
Specifically Tibetan or
Tibetan or any regional language, such as Tibetan.
in China, right?
Yeah.
我知道. You know that Chinese has a very big population, and all the filmmakers are very they pay attention to the Chinese market. They hope that their works can reach more audience. So I learned that most of the films from maybe in Mongolia and also Tibet are the language is Mandarin, because since that more people can understand the film. But in China, there are very good director from Tibet. I don't know who gave me the question. Which okay, I don't know whether you know director 万马才旦. Wan Ma Cai Dan is a very good and successful director in China, and he's also a very close friend of mine. And he made several very successful films and gained also gained awards both in China and also overseas. And I have another very good news. His son graduated from our academy. Is only, I think, only 25. Only 25. He also directed his first long feature film and gained a very big international award. So I think the language maybe is an important factor, but the thoughts of the director and the culture expressed in the film is more important. Because from the film, he told us the story of Tibet, but in Mandarin stories, but for us, we can understand. So I think it's a good thing for us to, it's a very good channel and also very important channel for us. We have no chance to go to Tibet, but we can know the culture there, and we can understand the live conditions and what they are thinking about. I think it's a good way. And my assistant also told me that maybe we know that sometimes they have different versions, language versions. For example, they have Mandarin one, have Tibetan one, and also English ones. Yes.
We still have 15 minutes more if you have any question. Okay.
Thank you very much. 李博士，谢谢你的分享和Dr. Lee, thank you very much for your deep insight. I'm a director from Singapore. I have with me my producer. And Singapore is a country that shares many cultural roots with China. But then co-productions between the two countries are very few. So in your opinion, I was wondering what can Singaporean filmmakers offer to encourage more co-productions in China? Is this relationship possible? And I also like to take the opportunity to thank you for selecting our film, short film for NIFF. Thank you.
Thank you. Just as I said, the Department of Co-Production in China Film Group, they in charge of the co-production for all the projects. And fortunately, the head of this department is also a very close friend of mine. So in the future, if you have some project, maybe you can talk with me, and maybe I can give you some help. And I think China welcome all the partners from all over the world. And the first thing is that, just as said, just find a good idea. Yes, I think this is the first step. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's any question we'd like to take, if not, then I have a query about the quota system for filmmaking. Most recently, I think Hindi cinemas are now being projected in theaters, right? Mm-hmm. With quota system. Quota system.
Huh?
中国有一个就用印度电影名额在中国播放是吗？然后呢？
没有。
What's your question? How can Nepal come into that? 丽人老师，他在问那个在印度电影有很多电影，比如说那个摔跤吧爸爸，还有那个阿米看的其他电影，还有那个水滴的猫，那些电影在印度已经在中国已经播放了是吗？然后他们怎么有他们的名额？每次他们都有这样的名额，然后尼泊尔的话什么时候有这样的机会？然后名额是怎么拿到的？
名额不是真的国家的，配额。
Yes, yes, we understand that. 让你看中文是吗？知道，已经理解了。
As I know, there is no quota for some special countries. We know, just as I introduced that China Film Group and Huaxia Film Group are the two groups that they have the right to import foreign countries. But as I know, there is no quota to some special countries. For example, India, and America, and they don't have special quotas for their specific countries and regions. And the most important consideration for them to import films, I think, to see whether it will have a very good box office and some can be welcomed by Chinese audience. So I think Nepali films will have the chance if, yes, they can find their audience in China. Yeah.
Good morning, Professor Liran. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you after a couple of years. Before a few years, we have met in Pokhara. So my question is that as you have shown that you have more than 86,000 screens in China. For instance, if any Nepali filmmaker, if they could be able to make an outstanding project, then what might be the possibility of screening our film in China? Let's say, for instance, at least one show in those 86,000 screen, is there any probability? And then if there is a probability, then what kind of role basically you can play in this, stuff,
Excuse me, just to double check, your question is how can Nepalese films enter the
just like,
screens in
the
China?
Bollywood already they got a couple of, nice deals, just like the Americans' Dangal has been released in China, and then it became a huge box office success. Just like, for instance, if these days Nepali filmmakers are also making good films, so that, if some of us, come up with a very outstanding project, then what is the probability of screening in China? And then, there might be some kind of policy hurdle or some kind of other kind of diplomatic
I'm sorry,
role.
are you asking the process for
Yeah, process
good
and both
Nepalese
policy and
films
then,
to-
process, how can we move forward with that kind of, scheme?
How can you partner with theaters in China?
Yeah. Just like, the Americans, Dangal has been screened in China. Just like, in the same way, how can we Nepali filmmaker can screen our film in China?
I don't know whether we get your point correctly. So you'd like to know how Nepali films can get into the Chinese market, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Just before you have mentioned about quota system, just like you were elaborating that Nepal has a nice opportunity to screen our films in China, and there can be the probability. But for instance, what I'm asking that just like the Americans, this Dangal, it got opportunity to screen in China. In the same way, how any good Nepali film, how it is possible to screen in China? Is there any probability? And then if there is a probability, as an important person from Chinese film industry, how can you play the role to make it possible?
The quantity
不是 quantity， 就是他们还是觉得就是别的国家能进，为什么你管进不来？
其实就是 quantity 嘛。
什么叫 quantity？
就是 quality， 这不就是吗？对，呀，对。Okay, I know that the friends today be here are very interested in that how Nepali films can get into the Chinese market. Chinese indeed is a very large market for film, and since it has such a big population, but you can see that the competition for distribution is also very severe. And just now I said some films during the Spring Festival, gained a very big box office. For example, Forever Red and Wandering Earth second. But they are also very good film. The box office is very low, and they can't get the balance. They can't get the balance. So to choose the good good timing is also important. Is important. But I'd like to say the most important thing is that the quality of the film. So since audience have so many choices, they will choose the good ones. So I know that Nepalese filmmakers want to cooperate with Chinese filmmakers. I think it's a very good thing. So find some good idea and make good films. I believe Chinese audience will welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering the question. And I just got this information from the gentleman of China Culture Center, and he said that they get to release that movie. It is because of Amir Khan's connection with Chinese filmmakers. And next thing, Chinese people watch a lot of Hindi news. They get to know about the movie. So promotion is very important when it comes for releasing movies in China, they told us. And lastly, one question. Since you're an academician, I would like to know what these people who are aspired to be a filmmaker, what they should do to study in the university, in a scholarship or so, right? Beijing Film Academy.
Okay, we have 4 or 3 layers for students. The youngest one is around 18. So they just finished their high school education and come to our academy for study, mainly for 4 years. And we also have graduate education. And the highest one is doctor. They study for 3 years and get the doctor degree. And except these ones, we also have some professional trainings, maybe for 1 year. I think this one maybe is a good choice for friends today. Yes. And you can go to our website to see what time we are receiving new students. And you can also write to us in email and to see. And sometimes we have some special programs. And it also, I think, it's a good opportunities to have some study there. Yeah.
Okay, there is a question.
Hello. Ni hao, Lao Shi. My question was about, how you said like there are mostly two entertainment companies that dominate the Chinese film markets. And how difficult is it for like a smaller entertainment company to survive independently in the industry?
So I think maybe there is some misunderstanding. China Film Group and Huaxia are the biggest one, are the two biggest one. But there are also some private enterprises. they also have many good films produced every year. For example, Bona Film Enterprises. The chairman of that enterprise called Yudong, also graduated from our academy. And this company produced many good films. For example, sorry, I don't name the English titles of the films, but they have very good achievements. Yeah, and there are also some not so big companies. They also produce films every year. Yeah.
So I think we can wind up now. Thank you so much for being lovely audiences. Thank you, Professor Liran and Yuan ma'am. Thank you for having this enlightening session for all of our filmmakers right here. Let's hear it for both of them one more time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening.